So, good morning and welcome. Welcome to Project Who Am I? Project Who Am I? It's different. It's slightly different. It's almost the same, and yet it's different. Who am I? Who am I? Who am I? We ask all the meaningful questions. I ponder this a lot because the world is turning sideways to what I thought the order of the world would be. Who am I? Who am I? You might want to ask, who am I? As you drive through the woods, you know who you are. What is Project Who Am I? Actually, I ask this as a question for humanity. Who am I? The way we answer the question means everything, goes to everything. In some ways, this little person doing this show has no idea who she is. And it's better that way. It really is better that way. I've tried so many times to do this show and watch myself doing the show while I do the show, or even after I do the show. I can't. I don't know why I do this show. But I ask this question because deeply, deeply do I feel that this is the answer for humanity. All of our questions, how can we get along? Why can't we just get along? We don't get along with one another. I mean, we do a lot of the time. And wouldn't it be lovely to just lean into all the places where we do get along? Europe, I love you. Australia, New Zealand, don't leave us. Don't, don't give up on us because we have a madman in the Oval Office right now. And they're probably saying, well, get up off your ass and do something about that. If you don't want to be in a world where he's your leader, then do something about that. Believe me, I want to. And for all of you people feeling the impulse to go out to the front lines and, hold a picket sign and shout, and bring your kids out to the party. I remember the Women's March. My gosh, that one was great. I loved it. The feeling of it was just us out there just kind of being, there are those on the right who accuse the left, and I don't even like to say left and right because there's a true left and right where you have those who believe in a government by centralist organization. Actually, both left as in communism and right as in fascism, which are both. I'm starting to see what left and right actually is. They both end up in a place where the totality of the whole is organized from the central top down with an autocratic leader at the head. That's what the problem is, in actual fact. Now, in a democracy, supposedly, I mean, I don't have any reason to believe that, Trump did not steal that election. That's actually one of the things that America has to come to deal with. And it's not just that we're ignorant, but we are. But it's not just that. It has to do with energies. It has to do with the energy that is us, and the energy that is life, and the energy that is this matrix, positive and negative, and what are the laws of the universe. in all of this? And who am I from a standpoint of I'm standing in a place that I'm thinking about all of this with no emotion. I am matter-of-factly just in my matter-of-fact, logical, rational thinking mind. I have added enough things together that it has finally come to me as logic, as, this is logical. And now, when you turn and look at the behavior of human beings throughout all time, look at how they behave, look at the religions that they formulate and the thought forms that they come up with that are trying to explain our position, who we are and how it works, the meaning of our eternal selves and the meaning of our temporal selves, and how those blend together, and this feeling that we have that we are more than just the physical selves that is apparent on the outside. All of that, add all of it together. And then don't come at it from a place where you're mad at everything or you're judging anything. I just recently ran across a prophet, and I actually I looked at him for a second on my YouTube feed. And then I went and looked at, who is this guy? Robin somebody or other. And actually, he's married. His wife's name is Robin. And he's got a daughter named Robin. And he's got a son named Robin. They're all named Robin. And they are all this ministry. And they've started this church. And it's really, it's the thing playing out again, and without emotion, and without feeling conditional about it, without actually even looking at it from a place where you feel like it touches your physical self at all. Just look at it, and the place that you look at it, there's this place that you are. There are two places that you are. One is in your physical self, in your physical body, looking around you where your physical body is. You can feel that one. The physical world around you from this position is mitigated largely by your physical senses. Your sense of sight, your sense of smell, your sense of touch, your sense of hearing, and I guess your taste. Those are your senses, right? So there's that place that you are. But there's another place. And you just are this place. Just know that you are this place. Most people don't know that they are this place. It has taken me many, many years. I've sort of had an assumption about it, but I've never thought about it. I haven't been thinking about it. I don't think about it. There's a lot of things that I have done in my physical brain that have brought me to a place where I think the way that I do. Just in case you're wondering, what the heck am I talking about? There's a lot of things that I have just done, and in my older age, I have reflected back on it and thought about it. And I have been adding things up. So throughout my life, there's this place in your consciousness. And if you have the grace to foster it from a young age, it will mellow more easily than if you live on a tight rope. If you live in a world where you feel more closely tied to your physical world because you believe the world is more dangerous. It's so dangerous that I always have to keep an eye on my senses as I scan the horizon in this dangerous, dangerous world. Well, if you believe that, I want to tell you that in a way, from my perspective, all of the things you're going to hear from me, you're going to think that I don't think that that's true, because I'm going to advise living your life in a way that seems like you are actually believing and having faith and trust in a goodness around you, that I absolutely believe in this goodness. This goodness absolutely exists. And this goodness is so good. It's so good. And it's so beautiful. And every single one of us actually participates in this goodness. Every one of us, even the most horrible of us, has this goodness in us. And this goodness that I see that we are, I believe, is who we really are. Now, this is part of my calculations. This is part of why I am the way I am, and that I believe the things that I believe, and that I have structured my consciousness in the way that I have, is because I believe that this frequency of goodness, of love, and connection to all the rest of the field, it's sort of the glue that is gluing us all together. It's not, there's all of us, and there's this glue that is gluing all of us together. It's an order. It's a pattern. It's a flow. It's an unconditioned. It's a formless. It's a vibration. And that is what I believe that we are. That's what I believe we are. And through that belief, so now, now, having said that, I haven't lost my mind. I haven't transported to planet Mars or anything like that. I am still myself. I am still here, and I still experience the same things. I could tell you things about, where I have succeeded, where I have biffed, where I have found joy, where I have found love, where I have found success, where I have stubbed my toe here and there, where I'm air quoting the word mistakes, but they weren't mistakes, because it was my inner being trying to lead me to a place where I could understand who I am and what the world around me is, how it functions, what are the laws, what's the uncondition of it, and now that I understand the unconditioned, in other words, what's the structure no matter the condition, now look around me, what conditions are going on, and what would make me happy. You have to deal yourself in. You cannot sacrifice yourself for the whole, and the reason you can't do it is you can't sustain it. If you cannot include your own happiness within that, if it's all just you being a good girl, sacrificing yourself all the time for doing what you should for the great, and being in loving service, as you say that through clenched bitter teeth, as you give to a cause when you have nothing to give to your child, for instance, or you have nothing left for yourself. That's the biggest one. You have nothing left for yourself. And so it's like the hoarder who, in their compassion, cannot help but go out and scan the world for homeless cats and bring them to themselves, because they are so sad about the homeless cats. But you know what? The homeless cats would have almost been better than living in that scabby trailer park with 150 other cats, with the, dead kittens in the laundry room and under the, you know what I mean? It's all scales of energy. Has it gone slightly off the rails, or have you let it go all the way off the rails? Either way, chaos is chaos, and I mean it perhaps in the Greek way, spelled with a capital K, as in this deity force. Chaos, Shiva, the demon, Loki. It is mythological out there, people. It is mythological. Quit thinking that it is so ordinary. And there is such an easy answer of us and them. There isn't an us versus them. There is love versus chaos. Love and freedom and order. But the order comes inside of yourself. Look to yourself. The question is, who am I? Who am I? Who are we? What are we? We are humanity with a capital H. We are mankind with a capital M. And she is mighty. We are mankind and she is mighty. We really are that. And what are we looking for? Peace? Peace, of course. Order? What do we like to do? We like to play with one another. We like to visit one another. We like to taste one another's food, and we like to bathe in one another's still ponds. Actually, we have a trip planned to Iceland, and I hope that Iceland doesn't freeze up on us. You know, because we are America, and we have this idiot that at 51% of us or 52% of us or whatever of the electorate. I don't believe that it's really 50% of the will of the people, but the way we have gotten our empire out of Kawak, it takes more than 50% of the will of the people. As a matter of fact, in some things, if you went out and polled human beings, the actual population, there is a huge percentage of the population that would not mind some sort of I just got a hit on something. I think that the reason is we have to get to consensus, and the reason that we do, it's not 50% we're looking for, it's consensus, because we are looking for that place where none of us disagree, and that place lies in an unconditioned. It lies in the purity of our desires, not in the discord lies in how our rational minds have translated and analyzed the situation. It's our, of course it is. Of course it is our rational minds that are having the disagreement. It's not, the rest of us knows what love and order feels like. Love, order, and freedom. Knows what friendly feels like. You know, we do have a big baby as our president. And the problem is that rational human beings have let the big baby be co-opted by the big bad guys. We should have embraced him at the very beginning for the fool that he was, for the all he wants is to be liked. And do you know who likes him? The right. The autocratic side, the side that wants to put a leader at the top that wants to see. America has not really, because Trump is the way that he is, because he's the buffoon that he is, we have allowed him to take the reins. If he had been a Hitler, I think that we wouldn't have let him do that. We would have been too smart for that. But he's not Hitler. And so he's actually reflecting a really interesting part of us. And if we would own it and then get in there and heal it, the rest of the world would forgive us for it. At least I think so. I think so. But as long as we here in America, well, it's all over the world. The question is, who are we? And what are the laws of the universe? It really makes the hugest, hugest, hugest difference you could possibly imagine. It's not a light thing when I say we cannot play this as an us versus them scenario. And that is what the problem is. You can see this administration is playing the world as an us versus them scenario. Now, the funny thing is that the previous administration did it too. But when they did it along traditional lines, we didn't notice it. The problem is actually not well, it is somewhat who we pick as our allies. It absolutely is. I do not want to be one of the Axis powers. We are not doing that. We are not playing 1, 2, 3 musical chairs on the roles that the nations are playing. I'm not going to live in the Axis country. I'm not going to live in the Axis powers. I want to be one of the allies. I want to be one of the allies. I watch all the World War II stuff. I do not want to be one of the Axis powers. And you know what? There's a whole lot of people out there who understand what they're looking at. We can see what we're looking at. What we don't understand is the totality of what we're looking at, and we don't understand what to do about it. And so, some of us light our hair on fire. Some of us, their profession is to light their hair on fire over at MSNBC, for instance, and just continually sound the alarm. Hey, we're talking to historians here. Can you see what the problem is? Can you see what the problem is, people? The problem is that those people don't see what the problem is. The problem is that the us versus them scenario at all. At all. We have to see the world from the eyes of humanity, and that there is no us versus them, and that everywhere there is humanity that needs to be saved from itself. Saved from itself. Saved from not knowing what our construction is, what our inner construction is, what our outer construction is. How you marry the understanding of the inner and the outer to fully grasp who we are and what we are about on planet Earth. I'll tell you right now, we are a dual being. We are both vibrational and physical. Now, it turns out that the physical that you are is actually very, very, very dense, also vibration. Very dense vibration. Vibration held in place through a kind of focus that is holding your form together. All matter is like that. All matter is being held together through consciousness. That's how come all matter, through the structure of all matter, is the reflection of all the rest of the atoms and protons and all of the rest of the universe. That's actually how it works. And you could, I bid you to, if you're fool enough to assume that I know what I'm talking about and I'm telling you the truth, and you are absorbing me as though that was so and testing it out. Ooh, does this work? Does this work? How does this feel when I try this belief on? How does it jive? How does it line up? Is it in alignment with everything else that I would refer you to go add in a bunch of other things too? I've added everything in. My whole specialty is addition consciousness. It's making sure that I don't believe anything that doesn't add up to everything else and doesn't feel good on the other side of that. If it feels dark, if it feels dangerous, if it gives me a negative, sick feeling in my solar plexus in any way, shape, or form, then I reassess because I'm looking for something in complete and absolute alignment with my greater self. I am two selves. And the idea is line your two damn selves up. Now, what is this second self of which I speak? She is vibrational. And at her vibrational point, all of your protons, you are almost like a tiny prick to her. Well, I don't want to say that because it has to do with data flow and information. It doesn't have to do with import. You need to get on board with her, is what I was thinking. She is holding the greater pattern, and you are, in your physical self, are part of that. But there's another perspective from your tiny self. You also possess all the information of the whole universe from your tiny self. And then the big thing from itself, and I don't know how to say this. I don't know how to say this. You are two selves though. And that greater self that you are is actually the smaller self that you are. The one that you didn't even know about. The one that can dance on the head of a pin, where all the angels can dance on the head of a pin. It's why anybody was ever fool enough to ponder that seemingly ridiculous question. It has to do with the holographic nature of the whole thing and how the whole thing is holographically represented in every proton in physical existence. And if that's the case, that means I have the whole information of the whole universe right here where I am. And I want to tell you, everybody, that matters. Don't deal yourself out of the equation. It's like the most important thing that everybody is doing. They are not dealing themselves into the equation. And one of the reasons they don't do it is because they don't know how. They don't know how to deal themselves into the equation in peace, in love, in order. They don't know how to do it in order. They can do it in chaos. They can light their hair on fire and go, "Oh, I'm here! Help me!" They can do that. But if nobody loves them enough to reach out and help them, then a lot of them are not heard, right? So there's a lot of us out there who are not being heard. So if you love someone and if you just love one person, if you only love one person. Now theoretically, I love everyone. I do. I love everyone. A lot of times it's kind of theoretical. I have to keep it in the theoretical because that guy who is all covered with tattoos and anger. Oh, that Robin Bullock. I think that's his name. Robin Bullock guy. Oh, he's not covered with tattoos, but he's dirty and he's greasy and he's angry. He reminds me of, he would be the perfect John Brown, you know, sort of that glint of madness in his eye, that fervor. And we got to take this seriously, people. We've got to understand who we are and why it is happening. What the whole thing is, it all comes down to what's the object of the exercise? What's the meaning of life itself? Well, I think that the object of the exercise is sustainability. And I think the only way that we hit sustainability as humanity, this amazing, reproductive, destructive, chaotic, blessed, divine, horrible, demonic species that we are. We are horrible. We are amazing. We are so soft and gushy and special and loving and divine and chaotic and destructive and horrible. We are all these things. Who are we? For crying out loud. For once and for all, who are we and what are the laws of the universe? Well, we've got some answers, but you have to still take the answers and add everything up within yourself. And then from the center of your own self, not abandoning yourself. Every time you feel negative emotion of any sort, you have abandoned yourself. You are two selves. Keep them together. One self knows everything and loves you beyond your ability to comprehend. If you can comprehend how much this greater self loves you for your sacrifice on the front line of suffering, if you have any sense of that, then you're not in sadness. You are in joyful alignment with her, and you are happy enough in this beautiful and blessed universe. And I'm not worrying about you. It's those of you who do not know how much you are loved and do not feel the love of your two selves. You are two selves. These two selves, that love you are looking for from God is a question of your alignment with your own design, your own alignment with your own vibrational greater self, your own vibrational greater self. You are two selves, and when you feel in order, you have come whole to yourself, and you can do this unconditionally. You can do it unconditionally. Most people are too frightened to do it unconditionally, and that fear self keeps telling them it's too dangerous out there. You cannot relax. You cannot relax. And I remember my late husband had this same problem. Ultimately, he did not believe the world was safe because ultimately he did not know where and how it was safe to relax. Well, ultimately, at the end of this seminar, this Who Am I seminar, we are going to be discussing how you can click in to your own divine autonomy, and from your own center, never abandoning yourself, you can stay in alignment and start flowing more gracefully, more orderly, more peacefully with the field around you. You can, you need to, you need to declare who you are, not just who I am not. As we gaze at our president, and a lot of us had no desire to get politically conscious or active at all. We don't like politics. We don't care about politics. Politics is actually an expression of us as our larger self. And so at some point, we do have to be engaged in some form of politics. And whether we run for politics or whether we're just aware of what's going on, maybe we enter political discourse, we give our opinion of our president. We speak about why we think this phenomenon is happening. That's my contribution to politics. I personally, that is a dog eat dog arena on the physical plane. And right now it's being played out by people who have no real understanding of our cosmic anatomy, our cosmic humanity nature with a capital H and mankind with a capital M. And we are not individuals. Well, we are individuals. We are both. We are individuals and we are this greater self. That mirrors perfectly the flows of data and information that you are. You are your physical, rational, independent, individual, singular self. And you are your intuitive mind, your vibrational, higher source connected, part of the greater field, part of the matrix aspect of yourself. You are both of those things. Everything is both of those things simultaneously. And neither one, if one superseded the other, it would have to be the whole superseding the individuality, but neither one of them supersedes either one of them. The whole is being created by all of these individuals coming into being, but also being connected to the whole. So what does this mean? How do you play this out? How do you make all of this information real to your life? Well, that's a really good question. I spoke of a concept I called abandoning yourself. Whenever you find yourself in a state of negative emotion, know that you have just let your two selves split apart. So now it's not that you are actually designed to do that. But what you are designed to do immediately is come back to yourself. And why do you do that? Why do you immediately come back to yourself? Because to stay separated feels terrible, and to come back together feels wonderful. That should have been enough of a design situation, because people, they'll gravitate towards what feels good and they'll move away from what feels bad, right? Well, not if they're trained to do it the other way. Not if they're trained that to do it the one way is evil and to do it the other way is virtuous. To feel good, to do what feels good to you, pshaw. That is, so that's where we have been trained away from our guidance system. Now, we have been trained halfway correctly. We just haven't been trained and many of us rebel and go the other way, and we're still half right. But you have to add it all together in order to come to the place where you fully realize what you're really looking at and what really is correct. What really is correct is a win-win position. And you'd think that, easy enough, right? Win-win, everybody wins. That doesn't sound like anything hard to sell. It is really hard to sell. And I'll tell you why. A lot of people's negative emotion has made them mad at a lot of things. And a lot of what they're mad at is other people. They are mad at other people, and they have no desire in their enemies winning anything. Because, for one thing, they're translating everything as a win-lose anyway, and so when they think of their enemies winning, they are assuming that means I'm going to lose, right? That is not the case. You don't have to play it that way. You don't have to see it that way. But the universe is so beautifully responsive and so absolutely reflective. And there's nothing wrong with it, by the way. We're just playing it wrong. We as humanity have sat down at the beautiful grand piano that is Gaia, that is this planet. And we're like a toddler, and all we can do is go bang, 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 bang. Maybe we're dexterous enough. We're starting to take the keys apart. We're dismantling the console, or we were starting to dismantle the strings in the side, and all of that. And then we look at it and we go, man, it's broken. It's broken. Well, all we have to do is, put it back together, sit down at the piano, and learn to play music with it. Now, that's not a perfect analogy because, but we're breaking the machine, but there's nothing broken with the laws of the universe. Not at all. And if we would get back into alignment with them, then everything would go peaceful and orderly. Now, what laws of the universe am I talking about? I am not talking about the Bible. I'm not talking about any real specific thing, although when you learn what the real laws of the universe are and you feel them in your heart, you feel the love and alignment and not abandoning of yourself as you contemplate the nature of the universe. Don't contemplate it from an angry place, because your angry self is just looking at some temporal condition that you're not wrong about it being bad, but you're not talking about the cosmos in the way that you think you are if you are coming from a negative place. Because the whole design of the world, the universe, is fabulous and positive and there's no, yeah, we aren't talking about the negative when we talk about the allness. When you're talking about something negative, you're looking at a condition around that you don't prefer, like children starving, or ecosystems dying, or people getting away with murder, or me not being able to feed my child, or me not having enough free time to spend time with my child so that I can get to know this blessed being that I love beyond all things, or I don't have any time to sleep, or I've lost my business because my damn president is a maniac, or whatever condition is that you're looking at that you don't like. Orphan elephants are the things that kill me. Korean food dogs, drowning polar bears, and orphaned elephants, and clubbed baby seals. Things like that. That's what kills me. An orangutan attacking a forest destroyer in Borneo, trying to get it to stop killing the forest. I mean, those kind of things tug at my heartstrings and make something inside of me cry, no, no, that is not me. Which is interesting because Bashar points out that initial hit of negative emotion is actually alignment, not alignment. That initial hit of negative emotion, that step one, you think of it as misalignment, but it's not misalignment. It is you getting the read from your inner being saying, oh, that is not me. I do not like the way that feels. That feels wrong. That feels bad. That feels unkind. It feels unloving. And that is not me because I am love. That's what that first initial hit is. And then step two, that's Source's job. The answer is there now, but it's there in vibration only. And now it is up to me to go find that vibration. And what is that vibration? That vibration is like the other side of the wave. You know, it's the when you take a positive, when you take a picture, a photograph, at the same moment that the negative is created, the positive is created. Now, initially, the negative was created first. Well, that is what's created first. The negative is what is on your film. That's what. Then you go into the dark room, and you develop the negatives. Then you take the negatives, and you make the prints. And you can take those negatives. You used to have the negatives. Remember, you kept the negatives in the little folder, and if you ever wanted more of the positives, you had to take the negatives into the drugstore and get them developed into the positive. All of the information is on the negative. Every bit of the information of what you need to make that positive is on the negative. It's exactly like that. When you have a hit of negative emotion, everything, and what is it you need? It's a feeling you're looking for. So the second that you get that negative feeling, honestly, you have all the information go to the damn positive feeling right now. It's almost like that conditional hit out there that takes you to a negative emotion can take you to a positive emotion. Now, what it is you go find the unconditioned, and then swirling around in the unconditioned. Now, what's your job? Translate it to the physical. Understand what the meaning of that is. How you go about translating that thing that you. How do I be that thing that killing the ecosystem is not? How do I be that thing? Because that's what your job is, to be human being. Human being, not human doing, human being. And actually, you will find that every bit of your work and all the rest, the only part that's work is this that I'm going to be talking about, this getting into alignment with your two selves. That's the only part that's work. Once you get into alignment with yourself, the rest of it is a flow, it's gravy, it's love, it's connection, it's meaning. You will find the meaning of your life. Whatever it is, you will find the meaning of your life when you find the way to keep your two selves together, even when you are thinking about the world. That's really where we all go wrong, isn't it? We all feel in the vortex all the time. The problem is when we engage our physical brain, so often we go into thoughts about things, conditions in the world that are as we do not like. And it takes us down. It takes us out of our pure positive place where we can think it out without ever going into the negative. We have enough thought base over there. Abraham is a thought base. And it's one of the reasons why Esther is, now she was financially successful before she became Abraham, actually. But she's wildly successful now. They were probably only modestly successful before. But Jerry was always so good at being in alignment himself. He was a good-natured full of faith and can-do, questing attitude. You know, they loved each other. They were just wanting to understand their world. Now, you could point out things where they are not. I'm not saying that she's Jesus Christ or anything like that. She's a human being, and she has added herself into the equation. She is playing a win-win game, and she is winning, and everyone around her is winning. And she's teaching something that actually, as she stands up in front of you and splits from Esther to Abraham, she's demonstrating your design. She's demonstrating who you are. Don't just think of it so hyper individual as, oh my God, look at what she is. She's demonstrating our design. And the steps of the universe, she's talking about the steps of creation. 1, 2, 3, she's correct. 1, 2, 3, step 1, contrast, life coming at you just causes you to ask for better than you've got. Ask for more than you have. And humanity has been getting a big fat freaking load of all kinds of crap for hundreds and hundreds of years, crap that we've been giving ourselves. But now, in this modern day of information, you finally have the ability of some human beings can add it all up and go, oh my God, look at who we are and what's happening. And through the internet, which is the nervous system of humanity, by the way, it is the blossoming and burgeoning nervous system of humanity. It's so awful what's happening to the internet too, because the internet is becoming just a shopping, and it's fine. It would be nice to have a big internet shopping mall, but have also it should be a better source of information, general information that we could all agree on. There could be general information that we all agree on. Now, you might say, oh, that's Wikipedia. Well, except for there's a lot of that information that people are not agreeing on. Now, fortunately, there is such a thing as, I'm going to call it the Akashic Records. Now, some people, they have perhaps a specific something else meaning when they say that, but the universe is recording what is happening. What has happened to us and the whole everything else is being recorded, and at some point we will see it. And it's not we can rewind things, and we can look at shit, and we can go, oh, okay, got it. There is a truth, and it looks like such and such from all these different angles. You can go to different angles and look at it from different angles. And the records, I'm making reference to Nassim Haramein's Space Memory Network. Go and look at what he's saying when he says that it's like the universe is like the physical structure of the universe is like a hard drive of memory of everything that has ever happened. It's recorded everywhere in the traces of physicality. As we here on planet Earth, as we fly past this particular area of space-time as things happen, what has happened is recorded on the very, it's tracing on the very fabric of space-time as we fly past. And the next instant, we're in an absolutely different place. And in the next instant, we're going to be in a different place and a different place. And as we, it's leaving. It's like the hard drive of the universe, leaving the memory on the tracks of space-time, the space memory network. Some people call that kind of thing, the Akashic records, they're talking about human consciousness and the memory and trace and the record of that being like a structure that goes back. It's all there. It's recorded. Anyway, who am I? Such a good question. Such a wonderful way to start my day. I will be doing seminars on this. This is kind of a seminar. This is a beginning of a seminar. We have other classes within the seminar, hours of like, this section is going to be about divine autonomy. And this section is going to be about focus and attention. And this section, perhaps we're going to grind through all the laws of the universe and the structure of things from like the Bashar and Abraham kind of point of view. Steps 1, 2, 3. Step 1, contrast causes you to ask. Step 2, source answers. Step 3, you have got to allow that answer, that you have to allow the space for that answer to come to you. You can't stay all hopped up on that negative emotion that caused you to want that thing in the first place. You have got to get into the place where you can allow it to get to you. It's a bigger place. Step 4 is you just get good at step 3. And step 5 is you're back in step 1, but you're not mad because you consciously know what these steps are and you know what's coming. You can hardly wait to get out of step 1 because you know Source has answered you with step 2. And it just takes you a minute now to sort of get my bearings and transmute whatever negative just happened to you into the ideas that will take you down a path of making your world a better place. Solving that problem that you just had, that, oh, I don't feel as safe as I want to in this house that I live in. Oh, but you know what? So that's the feeling. You think you have to hold the feeling or you'll forget about wanting to live in a safer place. You won't. The thing is there's a lot of things you want. And there's a totality of all of it that you could move directly towards if you would get out of your own way and get out of step 1 and into step 3 faster. Knowing that the universe will give it to you. You've got to find your knowing place. Now, I have found it, and it's still a process. I mean, it doesn't mean that magically everything is perfect. The fact is that I am getting everything I want, but it's what I really want is meaning to my own life, not just everybody to straighten up, fly straight, and leave me alone. I might think that's what I want, but that's not really what I want. I want loving connection. I want meaning to my own life. I want things to do. I want respect and order in the field around me. I do. I like that. I like that a lot, as a matter of fact. And so it turns out that, if there wasn't something to learn, then the teacher would have no vocation. And if she really wants to teach because that's fun, then the world is a blessing, right? So you look at the world in chaos and you have to think of it as, oh, look at all the opportunity. Ooh. And actually, I just hardly even look at it physically anymore. I look at emotions. I look at other people's emotions. I look at my emotions. I don't even look at the conditions anymore because the condition doesn't matter. There is something that is the same unconditionally. No matter what the condition, there is a core thing at the center of it that's always the same. And if it's in order, then everything around is blessed and graceful and flowing and there's no problem with it. You can just, those are moments where you can pause and just let your heart sing. And if you're getting a lot of that in your life, then congratulations, you're doing well. You know, if you're getting any of that in your life, congratulations, you're doing something right. You know, do you have those moments where you are just overwhelmed with love or powerful emotions of splendor or meaning or grace? Do you have those? There's some people I know that they are such big people. They are so huge. It's almost like, that moment in Alice in Wonderland where she's huge and in her house and she's having it's hard to align when you are so big to the smallness around you that everything just seems so dramatic, you know? And then somebody wants to explain to you the condition that has caused this dramatic feeling. And I'm kind of flying in orbit quite a bit farther away from the heat. And I can see exactly what the problem is. Baby, you've got your own alignment is off. It's not. The world is fine. The world is fine. Get your own. Quit abandoning yourself. You can feel good all the time. It is okay to feel loved and blessed by. I can understand why people take it to something outside of themselves and say, God loves you. Because God does love you. The allness of all things loves you. The Almighty. I like that word, actually, Almighty, because it's a word that people have used for God. But it vibrationally feels correct to me. It does not, to me, it doesn't invoke the old man sitting at the desk, calculating all of your sins and trying to decide whether you get to go into heaven or whether you're going to be cast down into hell, which is such a ridiculous visual if you think about it. But you can understand why you could get gobbed up that direction. You can understand that one. You can understand why, if your beliefs were X, Y, and Z, and then the world played out X, X, Y, Y, Z, Z, or however you want to denote that, X, A, Y, A, Z, A, and then X, B, however you want to order that, you can start to understand our history, our wars. The wars are all about expansion of our consciousness against rigidity within ourselves. And there were some aspects of our rigidity that took all the way to an angry, disenchanted, I'm trying to say he was not. He was left out of the abundance pie, and he was pretty pissed about it. As a matter of fact, he was kind of lazy, a bit idealistic, and then he turned bitter because he was not allowed any of the abundance or security that he thought was being taken away from the nice German people by those filthy, money grubbing Jews, which is really funny because the Christians hundreds of years ago declared that there were only certain jobs that they would allow Jews to hold. And they weren't allowed to hold jobs other than they could be doctors, they could be bankers. They weren't allowed to do just any old thing in the Christian world. In the Christian world, Jews who lived in the Christian ordered world were only allowed to hold certain positions. And then later, they get mocked and judged for characteristics of those jobs. Oh, money grubbing Jews. And he'll Jew you down, or whatever, which is ridiculous. It's like keeping blacks in filth and poverty and ignorance, making it absolutely illegal to teach them anything in school. You can't teach them to read or write, or you yourself are in trouble. And God knows what will happen to your poor black person when it's found out that they know how to read or write. You keep them in filth and squalor, and then all you can talk about is how dirty and ignorant they are. Oh, they're so dirty and ignorant. They're way dirtier and ignoranter than white folk are. Well, duh, you stack the deck your way. So all of these things help us understand. I hope that I was not unclear about any of that. Jews are perfectly lovely, and black people are smarter than white people sometimes. I mean, they're just people. We are all people. We are all human beings. And to judge one another for our temporal, physical, slight differences on the outside is ridiculous. We are all one being, and there actually is no such thing as good people or bad people. There is alignment or not alignment. Alignment with what? Alignment with source. What does that mean? Well, that's actually going to mean a different thing to every person. And they have to be the ones to say that you can't have a centralized power on the outside saying boo for everybody. You have to teach the people who they are and how to be themselves, how to deal themselves into the pie, how to deal yourself into the game without playing a win-lose game. How do you win in a win-win game? That's really the question. That's the question that every human being on this planet should ask themselves. Well, right after they've asked the question, who am I? And I see that I have gone over, have I gone over now? Hour and 7 minutes. So I think that I will end for the day. I have to go out and live my life. We are taking the train to Santa Fe with human beings, with other human beings. Gonna play cards, drink wine, eat food, and laugh with good friends. And I'll be back tomorrow, perhaps, if all goes well. And until then, take care of yourselves and each other. That was Jerry Springer's tagline, which talk about irony. But until tomorrow, as always, may the source be with you.